What's going on, guys? So I know it's been a little while since my last upload, but today I just kind of wanted to cover my most recent competition that I did that was a little over a month ago. So yeah, I'm a little late making it, but I'm kind of just now getting around to it. I would say it's because I've been busy, but that would be a lie. I've kind of just been like lazy with it, but here I am getting around to it right now. So yeah, this was a really cool competition. I went in and I accomplished something that when I first started really doing this again after high school, that's powerlifting, I mean by that, is, I accomplished something that I never thought that, I'd walk into a meet being expecting to do. So this was a really special day for me, and yeah, and I feel like breaking world records like I broke at this meet is still just the beginning, because at this meet, I not only broke a deadlift world record once again, which I believe this is the 7th time I've done a lift at a meet that was an all-time world record deadlift. So as you can imagine, I mean, it's always cool to do that and stuff, but after doing it 7 times, it kind of, you always want something a little bit bigger, and I was able to do that at this meet, and that was break the world record total. So I'm just going to kind of go through the footage right now and, kind of talk a little bit about how the competition went and my strategy going into it and whatnot. And yeah, you guys will notice I had a little special do for this meet, and that's kind of just been what I've been doing with my hair recently. Do like a little bit of a mohawk and then a little mustache here. Everybody says I look like Chuck Liddell, which I guess that's like not the worst thing in the world. I wasn't too sure about this mustache, especially at first, but now that I've had it for like maybe 6 or 7 weeks now, maybe about 6 weeks, it's starting to grow on me a little bit. So I'm actually kind of starting to like it. But the important thing is that my girlfriend likes it, so that explains a lot of that. But yeah, anyway, here we go. Let's get into the meet. So squats going into this competition had been going really well, and you guys might know if you've been keeping up with me for a while, that's something I've always kind of struggled with, was being able to train squats without my quad tendons just giving me like a ton of trouble. But with the help of Tom Martin during this prep, things were a lot better. So here I am with 628 on my opener. This is the most weight I've ever opened with. I was feeling really good on this day for squats, as you can see here. And, if you look at that right there, that's definitely the best this weight has ever moved. So I was real happy with that. So I had a plan coming into the meet for the squat, 677 or 307.5 kilos. That was the plan. That is exactly the number I wanted to do. And after doing my 628 opener, I absolutely knew it was there. I didn't think my knees really had 3 hard attempts in me. So strategically, I just went to 677 on my second because I knew it was there. I was feeling really sure about it. But at the same time, it's still a little nerve-wracking. This is the most weight I've ever squatted in my life. I did do 672 in training leading up to this, after like a long drive on that day or whatever. So I knew, fully rested 677 was there. And if you look here, sure enough, I stayed with it. Sunk it pretty deep, went a little lower than I had originally wanted to. But yeah, it was a great lift. This is probably the thing I'm most proud of at the meet. Because if you remember my 661 from my last meet, it almost killed me. And 677 at this meet moved a lot better. So definitely a big victory there. So yeah, that was fantastic. 677 was really the number I needed to get the total that I wanted. And I got it. It was there. I just kind of needed to move on to the next 2 lifts now. Bench had also gone incredibly well this prep. I hit a PR, and I tied that PR, which was 485, which I did 2 times in training. So here's my opener with 457, I believe, or 207.5 kilos. Lucked out a little bit at this one because the press commands were super fast for some reason. So, needless to say, I blew up that 457. I was also feeling very good on this day for bench press, especially. Had a good bloat going. When I was warming up, I even, got a pump really fast and really quick. So, and everything just felt strong. So I knew it was going to be a good day. So I go to 479 on my next attempt, which is already a meet PR at this point. And I smoked that one as well. Again, a really short press command. Nothing I can do about that. Yeah, I would like to have held it a little bit longer, but with the way it moved, I definitely could have, pressed that a little bit. I could have paused it a little bit longer, of course. So then I go to 491 on my 3rd attempt, which I was really stoked to even attempt because this was a lifetime PR. This would be the most weight I've ever benched in my life. which was kind of the goal going into the meet. I either wanted to tie my training PR or just hit a new PR on the platform. I was going to be really happy with either one, but with the way that 479 moved, I figured 491 was absolutely there. And yeah, if you look at it here, you know, I didn't really have much trouble with it at all. Came up pretty good, maybe closer to 500 would have been there, but I was, you know, I'm just playing it safe. I'm playing it for the total. And yeah, so bench press just really went awesome, and I was really stoked to walk away with a PR. So, you know, can't complain on that. At this point right now, so that was actually about a 15 or 16 pound meet PR already. So was my squat. So at this point, I'm up like 32 pounds on my total already from my last meet, my subtotal. So it's going really, really well. It's going kind of exactly how I wanted it to. And then now we kind of just move on to the deadlift here. So in warm-ups, deadlifts were feeling very good. And so here I am with my opener of 410 kilos or 903 pounds, which I've never opened with before. It's kind of nerve-wracking. Deadlifts didn't really show up all the way today. They were still as good as they needed to be, I guess. But yeah, not exactly how I wanted them to go. And one of the things was we warmed up on Texas deadlift bars that were already kind of old and stuff. And then, you know, we use a brand new Ohio not power bar, but Ohio deadlift bar at the actual meet. So, you know, the whip is just a lot different. So that definitely made the lift different and just a little more difficult. But as you can see, that 903, it was okay. You know, it moved pretty good. But, you know, it was just maybe not the best 903 has ever felt, I guess. You know, it just kind of felt like that bar was stuck to the ground a little bit longer than what had originally intended to happen. But, you know, either way, it still moved good. So at this point, I'm kind of just like, okay, I'm here to break the world record total. Like, that's my biggest priority for the day. Not necessarily world record deadlift, but there's also money on the line too. You know, I get like $1,000 per world record. So, you know, I decided to just lay it all out for my second attempt and to kind of just accomplish what I need to here. Depending on how this goes, I may or may not take a third, whatever. So I load the bar up to 953, which will break my current world record 220 deadlift of 950 pounds. So this is 953 or 432.5 kilos. So I wasn't feeling super confident before this lift, but at the same time, you know, I was feeling decent. You know, I knew I could do it. I knew maybe it was gonna grind a little bit more than I'd like. But yeah, so loaded to 953. That way I can break 2 world records on the same lift. And yeah, you know, it was just kind of a little, definitely nerve-wracking. But then, you know, they played my song. You know, I requested a song, which was "Tears Don't Fall" by Bullet for My Valentine. They played it real loud and they cranked the volume way up. So it was a really cool moment to kind of be in. And I can't really describe what it feels like walking up to the platform, knowing that it all comes down to this lift right here. Which I've been in this situation a couple of times and I've blown it, but this time, you know, I felt very prepared for a situation like this, as I've overcome a couple of fears I've had in the past about, you know, being in a nerve-wracking situation like this. So I've gotten pretty good about kind of collecting myself and just getting it all together here. But as you can see, the lift was definitely a little sloppy. The bar kind of moved out in front of me as soon as the weight breaks the ground, which you'll kind of see right here as we get started. And then there was a little double pump in the bar before the weights left the floor. So, you know, because of that, there was a little controversy about the lift afterwards. But at the time, I didn't even think much of it. I was just kind of upset at first because the lift felt a lot harder than I wanted it to, and I figured that was probably going to be it for the day. Like, as in I was not going to take a third attempt. I really wanted 970 going into this meet, or 440 kilos. That's what I had in my mind this whole time. I met the numbers I wanted on the squat and on the bench, and I fell a little short on the deadlift. So not exactly a perfect day overall, but I did not miss any lifts. You know, maybe I could have taken a good stab at 970 because I wasn't exhausted at this point. I felt like I maybe had another lift in me. But, you know, I made the decision to just call it right there. This finished me off with a 21-22 total, weighing in at 215 pounds and a 953-pound deadlift. So both of those are all-time world record numbers for my weight class. So yeah, this performance that you see right here, this was the best sleeve performance ever done in the 220-pound weight class. That's not in wraps, as I said. You know, it's in its biggest total ever done in sleeves, and I believe. This also made me the lightest person to ever total 2,100 pounds. Which, and now that I'm sitting here just, saying it's kind of hard for me to believe that I actually totaled over 2,100 pounds. Like, a couple years ago, this was kind of just like a fantasy. Like, I remember even thinking 2,000 pounds was way out of the question. But, here I was doing, over 2,100 pounds, because the total record was 2,101 held by Kevin Oak. And I was able to go into this meet and get a 2,122. So, I beat it by about 10 kilos or so, which felt really good to not just break it by a couple of pounds. But yeah, obviously I got a lot of backlash about that last deadlift, because the bar did move up and down, and it's just tricky in the rule books. If this was under the USPA rule books, that really would have been no issue at all, because technically the weights have to leave the floor, is what their rule book says. The weights have to leave the floor before it can really count as an actual attempt. But the SPF rulebook, which is what this meet was sanctioned under, doesn't say that. It doesn't really specify that. And I talked a little bit about this on my Instagram story, not my story, but I made an IGTV post about it, kind of talking about the lift and whatnot. And yeah, it was so slight, and really it was just the bar whipping. And I feel like when the rule was originally made in that SPF rulebook, this wasn't taking the deadlift bar into consideration, because, the bar and the plates are going to move at the same time if you're using a stiff bar, which is when I believe this rule was made. So I feel like the USPA updated this rule to factor in the nature of a deadlift bar. But man, whatever, it is what it is. I personally thought the lift was good. I stood up all the way with it. I'm just disappointed in it because it was 953. It wasn't 970, the number that I wanted going into the competition. But, I guess I can really just, learn to get better from that. I feel like maybe my conditioning fell off a little bit. So it made it a little bit harder for me to finish up the meet the way exactly I wanted to. But I'm not going to hang my head about it. I'm really happy with how I was able to show up to this meet, because I did have things going on in my life that, some big life changes that were decently stressful and stuff like that during my prep for this meet. So I was still able to kind of pull myself together, hit some PRs, and, didn't do exactly as good as I wanted to, but I'm still super happy with it. It's a step in the right direction. So yeah, I think I want to say this was like a 36 or 37 pound meet PR total. So not like a ton better than my last meet, which was the US Open, but still decently better. If I can just keep getting even just 20 to 30 pounds stronger on my total every single meet, eventually that's going to lead to something very big. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I got to say about it. And then, I just kind of want to thank Jesse Burdick for running a great competition. Now, sadly, this is going to be the last year the Slingshot Record Breakers is a thing. Yeah, because there was a lot of things with a lot of bad calls and stuff like that. Maybe even a lot of people saying that my lift was one of them. And yeah, it kind of, a lot of high squats being passed. Our press commands were really fast on the bench. So that kind of took away a little bit of the glory for me about the competition. But either way, the judging is what it is. It's whatever. I'm never going to sit here and say, oh, well, only the judge's opinion matter or whatever when a lift was blatantly not good. I can't sit here and say that. I lift to a certain standard. And I want my list to be clean, and I do that the best I can. I always want to have integrity and stuff like that. And there was some bad calls at this meet, some really high squats, like I had said. So, and I think a lot of that has to do, and I know Jesse's getting a lot of backlash. The whole thing was almost just made a joke of on the internet and stuff like that. So many people just talking so down on it. And I do believe that's maybe a reason why this competition isn't happening anymore, which is really sad. But, it is what it is, because this is such a fun competition. Jesse does such a good job of running it. The live stream's very good. The setup of it's great. It's just ran very, very well. And he kind of gets everybody there. He gets Stan Efforting to judge. He brings a lot of really strong athletes to the meet. A lot of people have a lot of interest in doing it. It's just a really cool thing. So yeah, anyway, I'll probably go ahead and stop it right there. Now that I'm kind of in a little bit of an off-season period, this is kind of when I like to start making a couple of more videos. So I guess we'll see how that goes. I need to get more serious about making these videos because obviously you guys are great. The guys that watch my channel and stuff all the time, I certainly appreciate it a lot. So I kind of want to keep making videos for all of you guys because y'all have been very supportive of me. So now it's time for me to try to kind of stay back on track with this a little bit. So I appreciate you guys watching my quick little recap here, and we'll see y'all next time.